Hi, welcome to Brandt Agricultural Products walk-around of the A-Series Harvest Grainbelt. I'm standing in front of the 2110A model, which is 110 feet long. We also offer a 95-foot long model and a 125-foot long model for reaching the tallest bins. The 20A Series Harvest Grainbelts were a result of a ground-up redesign project to provide industry-leading reach throughout the entire product line, as well as peak performance under all operating conditions for these grain belts. Grain belts offer peak versatility in the fact that they're gentle handling and they're high performance and horsepower efficient throughout their entire range, and Brandt puts a premium on being able to deliver those aspects of this product. A-Series Harvest grain belts are available in 20-inch and 24-inch belt configurations. So this 2110 features a 20-inch belt and it'll get you up to 12,000 bushels an hour at peak capacity. And the 24 series models will get you up to 14,000 bushels an hour. With models up to 125 feet in the 20 and 24 series belts, it's important that these machines are built strong and stable from the ground all the way to the top. With that in mind, we've redesigned the entire support system of these belts, starting from the scissor lift undercarriage using a monotube parallel lift arm system that keeps everything straight and true while it's being raised up and lowered down and in transport, as well as a solid truss along the top for the peak support along the entire length of the tube, as well as a reinforced tube. And what sets Brandt apart with that design is the solid wind guards that all protect the belt from environmental exposure, but also add to the strength and rigidity of the tube as part of the entire support system for the conveyor. Maintaining low operating angles for the A-Series was paramount for Brandt. We wanted to make sure that no matter how high you raise the discharge with these units to reach your bin, that you're always maintaining as low of an operating angle as possible. That way you maintain peak performance throughout the entire operation. So with that in mind, we've designed the purpose-built swing-away to work in conjunction with the low-profile main intake of this conveyor to keep the swing at under 23 degrees no matter how high you raise the discharge end. That way you can always be overfeeding your main intake with the swing at peak capacity in order to achieve the same capacity throughout the entire range of your main conveyor. As the grain is fed from the swing at the 12,000 bushels per hour, we can maintain that same capacity as the grain changes direction, dropping from the swing and being fed into the main conveyor. We do that by using our LP technology on the main boot. So as the grain comes in, it drops onto a horizontally running belt that then ramps the grain up into the incline throughout the transition of the intake before being fed and filling the main tube. To work with the low operating angle of the LP intake, we've incorporated a hydraulic hitch on the A-Series as well. So what that allows us to do is pivot the hitch closer to the ground when it's in working position while maintaining the connection to the tractor to get this sitting literally inches off of the ground. Again, what that does is allow the operating angle of the swing to remain shallow and the entire tube to remain at a shallow angle as well to achieve those high capacities throughout the entire operating range. With the hydraulic hitch, we have a pivoting gearbox to maintain the PTO shaft alignment to the tractor so you're never overstressing the PTO shaft. Along with the unique V pattern of the oilseed certified belt, we've added 2 additional features to the shape and profile of the belt itself to maintain product staying on the top of the belt as opposed to giving it the opportunity to leak around the backside. What you'll see along the edge is a raised rim where the V pattern terminates, and that creates a barrier that keeps the canola from leaking over the side. And beyond that raised edge is a flat profile to the outside 1 to 1.5 inches of the belt that gives a tighter seal with the double lip intake seal throughout the entire length of the hopper here. So along with the unique design of the belt, we've added additional seals and flashing throughout the entire transition here, all the way up to the flange point, as well as we've introduced the grain deflector shield at the back of the S-rollers of the intake here. And what that does is promote the grain to move up the tube as opposed to giving it the opportunity to roll back down underneath the S-rollers here, and where it can churn and get forced out over the sides of the belt to the backside, and again, where it leaks and eventually gets crushed and causes damage. So with the effectiveness of the Brandt oilseed certified V-belt, we understand that product will still always have the opportunity to leak around to the backside. So that's where we started to pay a lot of attention throughout the entire system to identify where those leak points were and seal them up with the additional sealing that I mentioned throughout the transition here and other points within the main conveyor, but also pay some attention to how we keep the backside of the belt clean. So what we've done is we've changed the material on our backside wipers, which we always have throughout the intake hopper and the main intake of the conveyor, to an oil resistant material that's made out of a unique polyurethane that's highly resistant to wear and will not degrade when saturated in the oil. Those belt wipers keep the backside of the entire belt clean as it returns down before it encounters any critical rollers that we've identified as key crush points when product does tend to leak to the backside. That way any material or debris is getting cleaned off the backside of the belt and discharged to the side of the conveyor before it has the opportunity to get saturated into that nylon backer. Additionally to the belt wipers, we've added roller guards at key rollers that we've identified as to being extra sensitive and key crush points throughout the entire system. The roller guards are designed to keep the rollers clean and free of debris and buildup specifically. So as product gets crushed by the rollers, it has a tendency to build up right on the roller and increase the diameter of the roller. This does a couple things. One, it creates a saturation point to press the oil into the backside of the belt. And two, the buildup actually physically increases the diameter of the roller, which puts extra stress on the belt if it begins to start to shrink. We don't want that to occur, so we want to keep everything clean. The roller guards are made out of a unique UHMW material that's highly wear resistant and rigid enough to be mounted against the roller perpendicularly to scrape off any of the buildup before it causes any saturation on the belt. The debris then falls onto the backside of the belt and gets carried down where it encounters one of the unique wipers and discharged out the side of the unit before any damage or saturation can occur. The redesigned S-drive of the A-Series Harvest grain belts was done to focus on two specific things: serviceability and maintaining performance. We've made the drive roller a single 13.5-inch drive roller that gives us 290 degrees of belt wrap to maintain traction under any load condition. The other thing we've done with the drive roller is make it simple and easy to drop out from the bottom of the S-drive for simple maintenance and repair. Just simply loosen the bearings on either side of the drive roller and it literally drops out the bottom without having to remove the entire belt. As with any belt manufactured by Brandt, we've included our Easy Track tensioning system on our S-drive, as well as on the swing away intake. Having proper belt tracking as well as belt tensioning is important to increase the longevity of your belt. What the Easy Track does for you is maintains belt tracking alignment as it re-enters the drive system on the return side. This way you're always having the belt centered on the drive roller and never having to worry about side-to-side tracking and causing any undue wear on the sides of your belt. It also gives you a go, no-go indicator of your belt tension. So as you start operating the belt, you always understand whether you're tensioned properly and need to adjust the 35 inches available belt take up to make sure that you're under the proper tension. With the oilseed certified package on the Harvest grain belt, we've done a number of things throughout the S-drive as well as the LP intake on the main conveyor here to make sure that it's always clear and free of debris. We've added the roller guarding on the main tensioning roller here, so there's the roller scraper mounted right against this roller here. We've added two different wipers within that intake. The wipers in the main intake keep things free and clear of the debris as well that travel down the length of the entire belt. The purpose-built swing-away intake allows us to do two specific things. It allows us to keep the entire unit as a single machine and have the unit always attached to the main conveyor and completely sealed up to protect the main belt and its components from environmental exposure, which could lead to premature degradation of the belt and those same components, as well as it prevents any product loss when in operation. There's no splash or any product leaking out the drop point from the swing into the main intake. The other significant thing it allowed us to do is to design this entire unit as one and give us an ideal transport position for the swing. Using the new hydraulic hoist, which is a solid lift arm, we can bring the swing completely up on top and adjacent to the main tube when in transport. The key thing about this is then the entire system works in conjunction with the undercarriage and the entire structural support system of the belt to give us the necessary rigidity and strength to tow these units long distances between bin sites and never have to worry about putting any undue stress on any of the components. As well, by having the swing completely on top of the tube when in storage position, it's not hanging off to the side and causing an imbalanced load or torquing the main tube and undercarriage structure to one side. With the A-Series harvest belt, we've completely redesigned the undercarriage system. So using the scissor lift allows us to get the upward and outward reach and bin clearance needed to get into the tallest and largest bins, but it also allowed us to redesign to use a parallel lift system on it. So you can see the main lift arms follow parallel to the main tube. This keeps everything tucked nicely and underneath the main tube as it lifts and lowers. And the key is when it gives you the extra stability needed when lowering and going back into transport. If you're on uneven ground or you're in high wind conditions when raising the auger, it keeps everything straight and aligned. So as you come back down and you place the main tube in your lift cradle here, it always recenters and will always give you the stability needed when you go into transport. You can also see here that we've incorporated our new robotically welded plate design on this axle here. By doing that, we get ultimate consistency in the weld quality of these units, but it also allows us to put the strength where it's absolutely needed the most, as well as then not overbuild in areas that don't require it. So we're giving the ultimate in strength and stability by also being respectful of not overusing material where it's not needed. This unit here you can see is also equipped with our auger steer hydraulic steering kit. This option allows you to maneuver these up to 125-foot long belts in tight bin yards, get around hard to turn corners, and make the overall usability of these units that much more manageable. This particular unit is configured with a swing away intake, but we also offer a standard open top intake where there is no swing, and you can use a drive over grain deck or other transfer belt to feed directly into the main conveyor. This unit is configured with an end drive PTO, but we also offer a side drive PTO for adding side clearance if you're using a drive over grain deck. The electric swing mover allows us to incorporate remote control functionality as well as integrate with Brandt's new Lead Hand mobile application. Lead Hand allows you to control any electric swing mover unit via your iPhone or Android device and not have to worry about keeping the extra remote controls in every truck or tractor in your operation.
Thank you for joining us on this walk around of the new A-Series harvest grain belts, including the oilseed certified package. For any more questions that you may have, please contact your local Brandt representative or visit brandt.ca.